We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. Steve and Jill here.
hello.
Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Stephen Jack Butella.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, broadcasting from sweet Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
Today, Jill and I talk, well, it's Jill Friday, and she's going to talk about the pros and cons of talking to sellers for hours.
I don't
Can't
do
say
this.
enough positive stuff about Arkansas. I can't say enough positive stuff. Anyway,
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I'm talking about the topic. I don't do this. And I don't condone this. But there's a version of this I'm going to talk to you about. Then you'll find more in a minute.
Perfect. Before we get into it, before Jill gets into it, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the landinvestors.com online community. It's free. And we have a site that helps you do phase one due diligence. In fact, it almost does all of it for you in less than 30 seconds. It's called parcelfact.com. Back in the day, you needed a mailing address like 123 Main Street to look up property. Well, that's just not the case anymore. We put together a database of 150 million or so properties that you can look up anywhere in the country and get the information that you need to make a really quick phase one due diligence decision whether or not you're going to buy land right on the phone or when on the phone with the seller. Check it out, parcelfact.com.
I know you said the number of the properties, but the coverage is like 98% nationwide. Is it 98, 99? I can't remember.
It's a lot higher now, yeah.
I think it's like 99% nationwide is the coverage. So you don't have to remember the 150 million. Just remember that part.
It's almost all of them.
Exactly. You're like, well, what if mine's not in that 150 million? Let me just give you the percentage, and then you'll say, I run a pretty high chance it's going to be in there. There you go. All right. So Evan wrote, now that the economic market seems to be experiencing a change in fundamentals, causing increasing real estate inventories due to fewer buyers, are any of you considering creating creative deal structure instead of cash when buying and selling?
Implicitly, no. Now is the time, in my opinion, more than ever, to be paying cash for undervalued real estate, because we're going to find more of it. When inventories like this go up, more property becomes available. And it's not just inventories that are going up. As this thing continues that we're in, not yet calling it a recession, but I think that's what it is or will be. People need cash. And if they have land laying around, they're not using this land. It's one of the first things they decide to sell. And so you want to pay cash for that. You don't want to structure some complicated thing with some seller who just wants 10 grand to say, well, I'll pay $1,000 now. And then you don't want, that's
a better deal.
And I'm not picking on you, Evan, at all. This is Wall Streeting. There's a lot of appropriate times in finance to implement these concepts of high finance and Wall Street stuff. This is not one of them. This is one of the reasons I chose, and I hope Jill did too, chose this career because it's so simple. Mm-hmm. I want to buy an undervalued asset, and then I have complete control over it. That maybe, who knows what the market's going to do? Maybe it's going to go down further, maybe it's going to go up further, but if I'm buying it so cheap, like we do on every deal, I want it, and I want to own it.
Yep. Thank you.
Today's Jill Friday. She's going to talk about the pros and cons of talking with sellers for hours. This is the meat of the show.
Okay. So I don't do this, but I know some people do, and I want to just talk about what you're trying to do here. When you're talking to sellers, what you're trying to do is establish a rapport, trust, and a relationship with them for a couple things. One is, to get a good deal, have them want to do the deal with you and only you. Whether or not you're the lowest price, do a deal with you and only you. And also follow through all the way with you and only you. Because what happens sometimes is we go into these transactions, we open escrow, we are off working on the next person, and the escrow agent is working directly with your seller, right? So what if there's a little hiccup and they don't have a rapport like you have? So there's a little hiccup, the seller doesn't understand something, they're embarrassed to ask the title agent. sometimes they'll just won't do anything. They won't call them back. They won't return their emails. They just kind of go dark because they're scared, overwhelmed, confused. But if you spent enough time on the front end, there's a too little, there's a too much, I think, but enough time that you establish a good relationship with them, they will call you. And that's what you're going for. That's the goal here, is to kind of befriend them. You're in this together. That's the thing. And that's how I always want my sellers to feel. I want my sellers to always feel good about the price that they're selling it for. And I have to feel good about the price that I'm buying it for. Because if those two things are not in alignment, it's not going to happen. You want to ask me some questions?
Well, so I think, the title says talking to sellers for hours. This came up because Jill and I spoke with somebody recently who that's how they do a lot of real estate deals. And my hat's off to them because I think that's wonderful. That's obviously that person's skill. Like Jill has a skill. But what you're effectively trying to do is win their trust over. If that's one way to do it, talk to them for hours. And so we all, some people as sellers need different things. If I'm a seller on something, I want as little.
Do you want to talk to me for an hour?
No, I want to talk as little as possible.
Okay.
I want to know that there's immediate credibility. Like they've done some deals. It's going to close on Wednesday the 13th, and the net to me is going to be $26,000. Those things are important to me. So when you're talking to a seller, you need to kind of decipher pretty quickly. This is sales stuff 101. What they want. But I do really believe there are some sellers that really want the attention, and they want to establish a real serious relationship. I defer to you. This is why it's a Jill Friday thing.
This is a Jill Friday topic because it can go wrong. Because think about this. If I personally spend an hour with every seller, I couldn't get all the deals done that I do right now. There's not enough hours in the day for the volume of deals that we do. I can't easily talk to more than 24 sellers in a day and have them. This is the skill you want to develop, by the way. 24 sellers each day. Let's just throw that out there and have them all feel like you know them that well. So you spend some time with them. You make notes about it. So we use Airtable as how I track all our transactions. I don't track it based on it's not in there by the customer, not by their name, it's by the property. So when and I keep notes though about each person. Are you writing down?
Yeah, I mean, no matter how long we have this partnership together, Jill, I'm just impressed as hell with some of the stuff that you say.
Oh, thank you.
Let's do some math. You can talk, and I'm going to do some math.
Okay, you do some math over there. I wasn't sure if you're texting a grocery list or texting me to knock it off.
No.
All right. No, but so back to the point. I can, in less than an hour, in 5 to 15 minutes, get on the same page with a seller. And probably because I have decades into talking to sellers. So I can say that.
Here's the math.
Okay.
She says talk to 24 sellers a day. So these are pre-qualified people that are calling her back and they want to sell the property.
Yep.
Because we sent the mail. I did my job. I sent the mail out. I priced it the way I should. Well, not all of those people she's not going to get together on price or any of that stuff.
Yep.
So let's say.
Or they don't have access. They don't have all the A's. I don't like it.
33% of the people we do deals with, let's say 20%.
Okay. 20% of my 24?
So, 24 people.
I like this.
Times 0.2. That's let's call it 5. Let's just say 4 people a day. She does deals with 4 people a day where the net profit is 15 grand, which is nowhere close. It's so much lower than what it really is. 4 deals a day times $15,000. That means she's making $60,000 a day.
You could do that.
Easily. If we didn't have Land Academy, we could do that all day.
Stop it. Oh, stop it.
Multiply that. What did I say? 60,000? Times, how many work days are there in a year? Let's
do it by the month. Let's say I work 15 days a month. I'm not going to work that hard. I'm going to do 15 days a month. We're going to see how we keep scaling this down.
That's $1 million a month. It's $900,000 a month. It's $10 million a year. If that was your only job is to talk to sellers. So
I can do that.
I love your point here. I translate everything into math. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's what I do. If
Yeah. My
that is
point-
truly
Thank you.
amazing.
Here's how you do this. Let me get back to the topic here. The pros and cons. Okay, we all understand the cons of talking to sellers for hours. You can't get that many people done. We've covered that one. The pros are $10 million a year. Okay, so what's the sweet spot? You have to get good at or hire someone who is good at quickly establishing those relationships, seeing if it's a good fit, moving on. And for those people that it is a good fit, I love the property, they love me, we're great on the price, and I just need to just get a little something from them, just pull on their something a little bit by, I remember little nuggets about where they're going this weekend, why they bought the property, how they inherited the property, what happened to dad, where the dog is buried, fill it in, whatever it is. I keep notes of this stuff in Airtable with the property, and I bring it up. I remind them that I care. I really do care too, by the way. I'm not just making this up, but there's no way I can possibly remember it all, so I have to write it down. I really do care. I always set myself up before every single time I call them back. I'm up to date on the conversation, and I can say, hey, by the way, just want to let you know, talk to Susie, and by the way, how's your mom? That it's those little things go a long way. So you don't have to spend an hour. You can do it in a lot less time. And Jack here just proved to you how financially successful you can be with that practice.
Consistency is a key.
Yeah.
If I'm constantly, as Jill's partner, putting her in a position where she's talking to 8 to 10 sellers a day, because they're calling back because I've sent so much mail out and effectively priced it the Land Academy way, she has really honestly no choice but to deal with, either do it herself or hire somebody, which is what she's done. After so many years of doing it herself, she's hired somebody now, and it's working out. So you got to put yourself in that position.
Got a couple people now, and I stay in touch with them. We all communicate really, really well together. And sometimes if they need it, I'll call the seller and I'll solve it, fix it, make it right. So thank you. That was really good. Happy you could join us today. 5 days a week, you can find us here on the Land Academy Show.
Join us next week for another interesting episode. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
It's funny you say, if that was your only job, we'd make it such and such. It can be. I like doing all the stuff that we're doing right now. We're doing just fine.
I do too, and it gives us a real opportunity to watch people learn how to do this and then eventually be their business partners from a deal funding standpoint.
Exactly. I don't know what else to say. I don't have ending. I don't have an ending little thing. So it's Friday. I hope you have a great weekend. We're going to end it. We are Jack and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.